Oh my God. Sorry. Hi, my name's Shirlene. I am a fourth year medical student and the creator of ShirlyWhirl MD. So I was born in Ghana, moved to the United States when I was about 6 years old. Initially, we actually were already in Chicago. After a while, moved to Arkansas in a tiny, tiny town called Malvern. Then moved to the suburbs of Houston, Texas, called the Woodlands. Then I went to school at WashU, and now I'm here back again at University of Chicago. My origin story for why I ended up going to medical school is fairly boring and fairly trite. My mom is a doctor. She's a neonatologist, so I've been exposed to medicine pretty much my entire life. And when we were in Arkansas, she worked for a really underserved population in rural Arkansas, which meant that all hands had to be on deck, including my 11-year-old hands. So I helped a lot with the programs like Reach Out and Read, and spent quite a bit of time in the hospital. So I think at the end of the day, medicine kind of offers you this interesting intersection between humanism and science, and a lot of us go into it for that reason, because we get to lead really fulfilling lives and have careers that are inherently fulfilling because you're helping people every single day, but also that are a career that's also intellectually stimulating, and that always stays interesting because everything that comes through your door can be interesting in whichever way it is. So I kind of ended up going into medicine because of that. From the art standpoint, I have been drawing since I was about 8 years old. I was definitely the kid who drew all over the walls and drew over every piece of paper that I could get my hands on. My elementary school teachers probably hated me because that's all I did in class. That continues to be all I do in class, by the way. I'm just gonna let all of my lecturers know right now that I apologize for how often it looks like I'm not paying attention. I swear I'm paying attention. I'm drawing so I can stay awake, and I think you'd prefer that. So I'm distracting everybody behind me who's watching me do it, but it happens anyway. And I've been drawing comics specifically since late high school. So I started drawing them for my school newspaper, just kind of sporadically. Then I went to college and found some other comic lovers, and we started a club called Kapow Comic Club. Got people who like to write and people who like to draw together to work on graphic novels and really explore this interest. When I came to medical school, I initially started just doing it as a way to de-stress, just a way to kind of reflect on some of my experiences. And my roommate Linda, shout out to the Bezzy, actually was the one who told me to share it with a wider audience. I think that comics are a really interesting medium because they're so accessible. Anyone could really read one and read it in 10 seconds and get something from it. You get a visual input as well as input from something you're reading. So I think in a really special way, comics can convey a ton of information that would probably need pages and pages to express otherwise. It's this whole a picture's worth 1,000 words phrase. And I think that has been something that's become pretty apparent with ShirlyWhirl and the work that I've kind of done with it, because I've been getting a lot of joy out of finding experiences that other people find pretty relatable, that a lot of medical students go through, and just kind of explaining them in a really short form way. It's been a really fun experience in general, and a fun way for me to kind of combine something that I do for catharsis with something that I can share with others. So I feel really blessed to be in the position that I am in, to be in medical school, that really values interactions with the community, values diversity, and not just racial diversity or ethnic diversity, but diversity of all sorts. I think that walking into a hospital, especially in Southside Chicago, where a lot of my patients are Black, that I really appreciate being able to be a face that isn't very commonly seen in the community. I think that in a lot of ways a white coat confers upon its wearer an interesting level of authority, and I don't think that authority necessarily cancels out my Black womanhood. I think that in a weird way, though, it gives me a certain level of credibility that without it I don't have. And so that's actually been something that's been pretty interesting. It means that sometimes I'm looked upon as a nurse, or sometimes patients will treat me with a little bit less respect than they might someone who looks a little bit differently from me. It means different things for even your evals, because I'm a smiley, happy person, but if I wasn't a smiley, happy person, I'm quite sure that I could be perceived quite differently. And I have friends who maybe are a little bit more stoic, who've sometimes struggled on the wards because blackness equals aggression right out across the bat, right? So I think personally, though, I've only really felt like I felt mostly privilege, you know. I felt like I'm in a position to really help my community, and to provide for my community, and to be seen, you know, that's part of why my ShirlyWhirl comic features me. I was pretty intentional about making it me, because I'm myself of Shirlene, but I'm also like black and a woman, and that means something. And if I become the cartoonified go-to doctor image, like that would be pretty awesome. You know, I'll join Doc McStuffins. This is a black girl doc crew. Let's do it. Aside from that, though, I think that I've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of really amazing people, really amazing mentors who've helped me get through to the place that I am, and who valued all that I have to offer. I think I have always been a bit of a different medical student. I have done some research, not a ton. Like, I'm very artsy. My application to medical school was artsy. My application to residency was artsy. When it wasn't artsy, it was social justice oriented. And I think that my experience as a fourth year and my experience applying has been one where the programs that showed a lot of interest in me were invested in what I was invested in. And I actually think that's a piece of advice that I would give to any medical students right now, is you're going to get a ton of advice about what you should be and what you should be doing and how many requirements you should fulfill. But the best thing that you can do is differentiate yourself. And the best way you can do that is by being truly passionate about something and really putting in your best effort and seeming genuine in that interest. Whether that interest is research, or whether it's something like me where you like to draw, or whether it's your dance, and if you can tie it into medicine in some way, you can add something new to the field, and you can be a really attractive applicant because of that. And shout out to those of you who are not yet in medical school but have a dream of being a doctor. Advice on your end. I mean, there's the obvious advice: study hard. If you're in college right now, don't slack off on those pre-med courses. Like, if it means that you're skipping that party to go in and study, you should do it, because guess what? You'll party in med school. If you're younger than that, really expose yourself to the field. Kind of know what you're getting into. Same with the pre-meds, actually. Like, know what you're getting into, and when it's time to apply, you should have evidence that you know what you're getting into. Kind of the same thing that I said for people who are currently medical students. Be passionate about something. You know, if you're going to do community service, it's better for you to find some service that you really care about and deeply involve yourself in it than to go to an ED or a soup kitchen for a few hours, you know. I'm on an admissions committee for my school, and a lot of what we look for is people who are genuine and genuinely care, and who have shown a genuine interest for medicine. So I think it's never too early to start exploring your career and the options within that career, and find mentors who can help you do that. As far as other aspects of my success, I always acknowledge the fact that I don't think I would be where I am if I didn't have parents like mine and a community like mine. I moved around a ton, and I made amazing friends at each step of the way, but I keep in mind that my family comes from Ghana. They come from Africa. They're from a group of people who were able to immigrate. They don't have a lot of the institutionalized crap that African Americans or anyone else from the diaspora might have. And I'm aware of that when I go into a medical school and look around, a lot of the other black kids are Africans. I'm aware of the fact that my mom is a doctor herself. My parents are both educated, and like so much of my success comes from that, comes from being able to, from really just being lucky, and the rest of it comes from being, I don't know, quirky, going to the right places at the right times, talking to people, being able to ask for help when I needed it, and not letting anything hold me back. I've had some setbacks in medical school that kind of threw me for a loop, and picking myself up and getting help where I needed it has been super, I guess, has almost been tantamount to a lot of my success, if I can call it that yet. As far as my plans for the future, I'm applying into internal medicine right now. Just a shout out to those of you who aren't sure what you're doing. I thought I was going to do OB-GYN pretty much my entire life. Did the work for it, and then it wasn't really a fit for me, but I loved medicine, and changed my mind in the middle of third year, which felt like a crisis at the time, but it really wasn't. So I'm really happy with that decision. As far as what I want to do for the rest of my life and what I envision myself doing, I think that on the medicine side, that's a little bit murkier for me. I think there are certain things I kind of know that I want. I like working with my hands, obviously, so maybe something procedural. But as far as the actual specialty, for the other aspects of my life, however, I have a much clearer idea. I've always loved art, and I'm going to continue to always love art, and that includes my drawing, but I also love to write. And I think that one of my goals would be to write a book, maybe make a graphic novel. I would love to I love ShirlyWhirl to become a forum for people to discuss all sorts of issues. Maybe if I presented it in a comment, for the comments to be on that issue, a la Kevin MD. And I would love for at least part of my career to be spent mentoring. And so I think when I envision myself in, let's say, 10, 20 years, I see a lot of Dr. Abobis on shelves, and a lot of Dr. Abobis speaking at things, and a lot of Dr. Abobis with a lot of Dr. Abobi-ites being my mentees. So that's kind of what I would love to have in the future. I think my relationship with medicine isn't just about the actual medical work. I think there's so many more issues that affect healthcare, affect healthcare delivery, and I'd also love to be an advocate for a lot of those issues. If you pay attention to my comments, you know I'm pro single payer. I'm still about to be about that. I really want that to be a part of my career as advocacy as well. So we'll see. Hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of me. So if you haven't already, you can follow ShirlyWhirl MD. That's ShirlyWhirl MD on Instagram and on Facebook, with a website coming soon. Love to see you guys there. You want to see me ramble but be kind of cute while doing it?
Kind of cute.
I think you'll have plenty. I'm doing a lot of goofy stuff.
Like play some music or something.
So no, I'm not going to start twerking for the video.